Welcome to the 15th episode of United Talk, everybody. We just had a big game against Real Madrid away, and well, let's talk about that. Your thoughts, Annie?
Hey guys, hey again. Well, a massive game, the game the world has been waiting for, as Jose Mourinho put it before the match, and it turned out to be a spectacle of football. I would have to say a 1-1 draw at the Bernabeu is a really good result for Man United. If you had offered that to me or to Sir Alex before the game, I'm sure he would have taken it.
Definitely.
I would have taken it. We were dominated for large periods of the game and we never really seemed in it, but when we went forward at times we looked really threatening, and Van Persie had a couple of good chances, and I think in the return leg at Old Trafford it's going to be a very different match, and we gave a really controlled away performance in Europe. What did you think of the game?
Oh, exactly, yeah, as you said, a big game that everyone was really looking forward to. I think probably a potential Champions League final had things not gone awry. And it was a very open game, I thought. Chances for both sides, some great individuals plays, some passes gone astray. This game has pretty much everything you would expect from a game with two such great teams. And people say about Real, they're not in a great run of form, they're not doing so well in La Liga, but despite what they say, they're filled to the brim with brilliant individual players, and when push comes to shove, they play well as a team as well. And I was really impressed with Real Madrid today. I thought that they probably by a shade deserved to win it. I thought, if it wasn't for the brilliant performance of De Gea, which we'll be discussing later on, I thought Real Madrid could easily won it. However, I'll go on to say that United also had their chances, and a couple of great saves from their goalkeeper, a couple of shots hit the woodwork, and all in all, a great game. I really enjoyed it.
Absolutely. I think it's also interesting towards the end of the game, Mourinho with the substitutions clearly feeling that there was a danger United would get a second away goal. He brought Modric on, he brought Pepe on, and that was clearly defensive move on a shore of the midfield, because when we went forward, which was rare, we did look threatening, and the strategy before the game that we sort of discussed and Man United fans thought was going to be the best strategy was basically give Real Madrid the ball, sit back and don't let them counter-attack because they're so lethal on the counter. That worked, because so many times when they were attacking, when they had the ball in the center of the park, Alonso, Khedira, Ozil, they were struggling to pick a pass through, and they were restricted to long-range efforts. And when it comes to shot stopping, I believe we have the best goalkeeper in the world, perhaps. David De Gea, absolutely brilliant in goal.
Super game, yes.
Amazing saves he made, and we just looked comfortable in terms of restricting them to long-range shots. Some hairy moments at the back, of course, you're going to get that playing away at the Bernabeu. But largely, I felt Fergie would be really happy with this performance.
Yeah, definitely. As you said, De Gea was in absolutely top form and some great reflex saves. I think when it comes to reflexes, you're right. He is definitely up there with the world's best. Still a bit green when it comes to handling crosses, but that comes with age, and I'm really looking forward to seeing how De Gea is going to develop. But you were right, we talked earlier about how Real Madrid would have to be restricted to passing the ball around, as they're not, well, I wouldn't say they're bad at it, but they aren't the best at it. And I think all in all, United were able to contain them fairly well. I thought that they dominated possession, as is to be expected when playing at home. But I think all in all, I think United were able to neutralize their game plan. They didn't get many counterattacks, and pretty much the goal that they scored was just one moment of brilliance and one defensive lapse in concentration.
Absolutely. What interesting, just to get things started off, what did you make of Sir Alex's team selection?
A bit surprising, I thought. For starters, I didn't expect Danny Welbeck to start. I expected Antonio Valencia to start for obvious reasons. Tracks back, hard worker, reasonably good in the air. He's strong. But, starting Welbeck, that decision was vindicated about 20 minutes into the game.
Absolutely.
As he scored the opening goal. I was also...
And in general, I thought Welbeck had an outstanding game.
I thought he was really good. We'll talk about him more when we get to our top three. But moving on, I thought that it was a bit strange he didn't start with Nemanja Vidic. And although I rate Rio Ferdinand as a defender, and I think he's been great this season, I thought that given Real Madrid's fast-paced play and lethal counter-attacking, a player like Rio Ferdinand would have to rely on his pace more than his actual, ability to read the game. And at Rio at this age has little to no pace left. I mean, Johnny Evans was, I thought, an automatic selection at the back, and he had a decent game, I thought. But Rio and Sir Vidic really certainly shocked me. What about you? What do you think?
I'm smiling because, in fact, I thought Rio and Vidic both were going to play, and Johnny Evans was not going to play. And Sir Alex obviously knows a lot more than we do. In this game, I thought it was brilliant, and Rio as well reading the game really well. And Sir Alex saying the reason for Vidic not playing is simply because if it was one more day of rest, 4 days, he would have played him, but 3 days rest because Vidic is coming back from a long
He's so fragile, yes.
especially after a grueling game against Everton at home on a heavy pitch at Old Trafford.
Mm-hmm.
So, but you know, defensively, can't have many complaints. I thought Evans and Rio did a really good job.
Definitely, yes. And I think we were talking earlier in the week about how this key duel between Rafael and Ronaldo would turn out. And how do you think it turned out?
Well, I think Ronaldo definitely has the beating of Rafael, let's be honest. He
Mm-hmm.
has the beating of most wing backs in the world. And in fact, Ozil also tormented Rafael on a couple of occasions. But I thought by and large, in terms of Ronaldo running with the ball, United countered him fairly well. Whether it was Rooney playing in front of him or Phil Jones obviously did a great job playing that right channel. You know, Ronaldo likes to cut in and shoot. Phil Jones is always there, tracking him, even marking him at corners really well, marshalling him. So, and Ronaldo had to move on to the right to get his goal eventually. He targeted Evra. Evra at the back post is always a worry for United.
Mm-hmm.
Many goals have conceded like that.
Yeah.
Fellaini targeting Evra or someone else. And Ronaldo does that. But still, having said that though, it was not an easy header. He's leapt and he stayed in the air for an insane amount of time. It's an incredibly hard header and he's just placed it brilliantly and De Gea just can't get a hand to it. But apart from that, I thought in terms of the team selection, I was surprised. I thought Cleverley would start. He's been playing all our away games. He played away at Chelsea, away at City. So I thought he was an automatic pick, but he's not played him. He's gone for Cargo instead, which I thought was again vindicated by Ferguson because Cargo is really good. And just see ball, keeping under pressure, winning a foul. I thought he played really well. And I think largely, most disappointing performance was perhaps from Wayne Rooney.
Exactly, yes. Let's talk about that. I mean, for me, Wayne Rooney has been one of Manchester United's bright lights this season.
Yeah.
Whether it's been taking a step back from, and leaving the main goal scoring duties to Van Persie, to molding his game for the betterment of the team. He doesn't moan when he's sitting on the bench. He doesn't moan when he comes on as a substitute. I mean, most players of Rooney's, pay grade and Rooney's, enormous brand value would be expecting to start every game. But this is the guy who puts the team in front of him. But that being said, I thought Rooney was absolutely shocking tonight. I think one of his
completely anonymous.
Yes, one of his worst performances in recent times. I wouldn't even say this season. It's just as far as I can think back, Rooney's only had a handful of bad performances.
Yeah, the thing was that he actually, apart from the heavy touches and the lack of inventiveness, he actually seemed like he was moving slowly.
Slowly, exactly, yes.
He did not seem like he was, the Wayne Rooney that we're used to, the Wayne Rooney that is scaring defenses across Europe. And he seemed just playing as if at 50% capacity. And I don't know whether that was because he was isolated on the right wing or he's supposed to do a defensive job. He was not happy with it. But he moved in the center later on when Valencia came on and Cargo was off. It still did not help really. And I hope he can rediscover his form before the second leg because he is a big match player.
Yeah, definitely. But, if you look at it, it's only been one bad game. And I think Rooney's game has never been about raw pace, like, say, Valencia or Nani or Young or someone. His game is all about that 5-yard, bursts of speed which takes him past, which he didn't seem to have today. He was the second to every ball that he went for. And even when he did have the ball, he often didn't pick the right pass or make the correct move, which is odd because Wayne Rooney is an experienced professional football player who's been playing at this level for many seasons now. So it was a bit odd to see Rooney a little bit out of his depth today. And as you said, yes, I hope he'll be able to pick up in the games to come.
Yeah, absolutely. And what did you make of Madrid's performance? I thought Di Maria was their best player, in fact.
Definitely, yes. I'd have to agree with you. Di Maria was their best player. I think Madrid have more than anything in this game proven that they're not just a one-man team. People say how they've had an awful season and Ozil's been off form and Benzema's been off form and their defense has been off form and Casillas has been off form. And everyone keeps talking about how Ronaldo is their greatest player and they're relying on Ronaldo and this, that. Which I suppose United's tactical report also says something to that sort. Yeah. But when it actually came time to perform, Ronaldo was shackled by and large and he couldn't really do much apart from his goal. And so the onus fell onto other Real Madrid players to pick it up. And they did. I thought Di Maria was in top form. I thought Ozil was making great passes. Yeah. Khedira was bombing forward from central midfield. Alonso was sitting back, neutralizing attacks and starting their own attacks. Yeah. And I think even the fullbacks were pushing up very well. In the second half, Arbeloa was pretty much playing as an auxiliary winger.
Yeah.
So all in all, I was really impressed by this Real Madrid team. And I think this performance, more than anything, scares me for what's going to come in 3 weeks at Old Trafford. What about you? What do you think?
Well, Real Madrid, I thought they performed up to expectations in a way. United's team selection perhaps surprising people, but Madrid more or less played the team that everyone expected. They played the same way everyone expected them to. They were playing at home. The onus was on them to attack, to get the goals. And of course, the early goal from us did shock them, but they responded fantastically to that. And later on, they were pressing us, peppering our goal with shots. And I think Mourinho would feel aggrieved not to have got the win today, but he's going to know that going to Old Trafford, he has a good record there. And I think Real Madrid will back themselves to definitely score at Old Trafford. And, you know, this game is still wide open, I think.
Definitely, yes. This tie is in no way decided.
But who were your top 3 players for United, you say, from that game?
Well, the first top I think was pretty obvious. David De Gea, I thought, put in the best performance I have ever seen him put in while wearing a Manchester United shirt. Thought he was in absolutely top form. I think he's shown in this game why people think so highly of him, why the scouts who recommended him and why his manager put so much faith in him. It's because when push comes to shove, a keeper relies on his reflexes, and David De Gea has that in spades.
Absolutely.
From his first brilliant save, you know, when Contra's effort was easily heading into the bottom corner, when De Gea's timely intervention put it up on the post and it went out, all the way to his last save he made, which I think was from Khedira's bouncing effort, all the way I think in the 84th, 85th minute. He was outstanding throughout. A couple of, you know, shaky flaps when it came to dealing with crosses, but all in all, just a brilliant game. Lots of key saves, you know, and kept a firm grip on the ball. Couldn't do anything about the header, Ronaldo's header. I think the header was perfectly placed, and to be honest, United's defense should have run better. I thought Patrice Evra should have run better. But I was very impressed with De Gea, and I hope he can keep this form up for the rest of the season.
Absolutely.
My second, I'd have to give it to Phil Jones. I thought he did the job he had to do.
Excellent.
Neutralized Ronaldo to the point where Ronaldo had to switch flanks in order to get anything from the game.
Yeah.
And when he did, Phil Jones tracked him there. He tracked him there, he tracked him back, he tracked him everywhere. And in the second half, when Ronaldo's effectiveness started to wane, it was Phil Jones switched his attention to probably the most dangerous player of the game, Di Maria. Yeah. And when Di Maria went off, switched it off to Ozil. So I think that shows the maturity that Phil Jones has, as in how he can read the game to know exactly what his duty is, which is to neutralize the offense's most dangerous player.
Absolutely.
You know, a great performance by Phil Jones. I really enjoyed that. And my third pick, you know, is difficult. You know, Kagawa I thought had a great game. And but I'll have to give it to Danny Welbeck. I thought he did the job he was supposed to do, like with Phil Jones. But, you know, I was thinking earlier about how I said Valencia should play for all the qualities I mentioned earlier. You know, great defending and this, that. But if you look at that, Danny Welbeck also has similar qualities.
And he can score.
Exactly. That's the only difference between him and Valencia. He can score. He's got pretty much the same amount of pace. Great in the air, Welbeck. You know, several of the goal kicks, free kicks, pretty much defensive clearances were aimed right at him. Which I think is United's game plan that they've gone to many times this season against Liverpool and that. And I thought he had a great game and scored a great goal. Difficult header if you look at it. I mean, the cross was great from Rooney. Exactly, yes. Going backwards and then arching his neck back to direct the ball back from where it come. So a difficult header, but he got United on track and scored a priceless away goal. Your top 3, Annie?
Pretty much the same, just the order would differ. I had De Gea at number 1 again for all the reasons you mentioned and more. He was absolutely imperious. Some unorthodox saves, including a Batman-esque effort to keep out Contral's shot in the second half.
Who needs hands?
Overall, you know, you cannot fault him for anything there. He just held on to all the shots, didn't spin anything. It was magnificent, and you know, I guess the game in Spain is so much about shooting and less of dealing with crosses. That's where his strengths lie, and he showed that today. And but for my second, I'd have to go with Danny Welbeck. I thought, apart from the goal and the defensive work, he was just an outlet for United all the time. You know,
definitely
pushing balls into channels, long balls. He would chase them down. He was working so hard. He had great burst of acceleration, great pace, great strength as well. A couple of times going head to Varane and dominating him. So I thought that this was the time for Danny Welbeck to really perform. He's been a bit below par this season. We've been criticizing him on the show. And in the biggest game of all, he steps up. And he, in fact, made Rooney look pedestrian at times by his performance.
Definitely, yes.
So, huge kudos to him. And lastly, I have to go with Phil Jones again for the reasons you mentioned. Did what we wanted him to do, did what we expected him to do, and did it well, did it cleanly, and did not look out of place amongst some of the best players in the world.
Exactly, yes. Phil Jones, great job. And I'm really looking forward to the second leg. I think there's still everything to play for in this time.
Well, what do you think are United's sort of plans for the second leg and our best chances?
Well, it's at Old Trafford.
Yeah.
And United have been great at Old Trafford this season. The crowd has really backed them. I think the fans feel, just like we do, that this season, this United team is something special. this United team has the potential and just the raw willpower to go all the way. And I think that's going to play a massive, massive role in the second leg. I think the crowd is going to be behind United, and I think that should boost them up, and I would expect United to win.
Yeah.
But I have to say this, based on Madrid's performance today, I wouldn't put it past them to score a couple of goals.
Yeah.
I think they were absolutely brilliant in attack. Short of David De Gea playing another game like he played today, they're definitely going to score. Yeah. But I think United will score more than them, and I think United should go through.
I'd have to agree with you there. Cautious optimism, same as you. I think Madrid will give a really good account of themselves, and Mourinho knows how to play at Old Trafford. He's been there, done that before. Mm-hmm. But I would have to back United at Old Trafford simply because we are playing at home. It is going to be a different game. Ferguson is going to pick a different team, and we are going to be attacking. We're going to be playing with wit at Old Trafford. We're going to be playing to our strengths, and I think if we can play, there have been some performances in Europe where in the first 25-30 minutes we were absolutely dominated. I remember Bayern Munich, in 2010.
Yes.
We went on to lose the tie overall. In the first 20 minutes we were imperious, and I think if we can give that level of performance, we can really shock Madrid early on.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm backing United as well.
Definitely. All right, yes, we've got a game against Reading coming up at home, and your predictions, Annie?
I pick up tie, and I would have to say a comfortable home victory for United. Hopefully, we do. Hopefully, after the exertions in Madrid, we don't take our eye off the ball. And of course, this is another important competition for us, of course, and we really want to win that pickup. It's been ages since we won it. 2004 was the last time. So, hopefully the next round.
Yeah, definitely. I think Reading have been somewhat of late goal scorers as well, just like United this season. And with players like Lafondra and Progobajnak often getting key goals. But it's at home. It's an FA Cup. United know what they have to do. Ferguson's probably going to play a cup team. And I'd have to go for probably a 2-0 win for United.
Alright. Well, thanks guys for watching the videos. And hope you enjoyed this discussion of the Real Madrid game. Please get involved with your comments. And on Twitter as well, United Talk 19. Let us know your feedback. And we'll see you after the Reading game.
See you guys.